why this insanely toxic card was emergency banned. Let's watch.
This card single-handedly ended the finals of a 1,000-person tournament in less than 10 minutes. David Rodriguez was able to do this exact feat in 2006.
But this is an old video, and I'm sorry, I know this is like out of like, it doesn't matter, but he has such a much better background now. I'm sorry, I just had this is from a year ago, but you can already see the production level has increased.
Rodriguez was able to do this exact feat in 2006 for the Shonen Jump Championship in San Jose. But before we dive
San Jose, where is San Jose? Is that in Costa Rica? Well, I don't think it matters.
Championship in San Jose. But before we dive into the details, we gotta rewind a little bit and talk about the context. Cyberstein is a monster that has a lot of history.
Dude, like, I'm sorry, but have you...
And talk about the context. Cyberstein...
This looks like a made-up card. I know this card, right? Obviously, it's a really old card, so I already know about it, right? And I already kind of know the point of the video. The thing is, like, you read this card and it sounds made up. You can pay 5,000 life points to special summon one fusion monster from your extra deck in attack position. That's it. Free monster. Whichever you want. That sounds made up, right? Like what? 5,000 LP? Do you think that's San Jose is in California? Oh, my bad. San Jose is in Mexico? Wait. I feel like I'm getting like a mixed signals. I guess there is a San Jose in California, and there is also a San Jose in Mexico and in Costa Rica. But like, yeah, I don't know which YCS was we're talking about. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Is a monster that has a lot of history. This Frankenstein-esque monster might only have a measly 500 attack points, but his effect makes up for what he lacks. His ignition effect allows you to pay 5,000 life points to special summon out any fusion monster from your extra deck without...
You can summon Koala? Wow.
Having to fuse with its materials. So you can literally just cheat out the biggest fusion monster of your choosing. Now, if you played any of the old Yu-Gi-Oh! Game Boy Advance games back in the day, like Eternal Duelist Soul, or any of the World Championship Series games,
can't relate.
You might recall that some NPCs in the game, like Seto Kaiba, actually uses Cyberstein to cheat out his ace monster, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, as early as turn 1. It's also one of the most expensive cards in the history of the...
Dice to Mirror Force, I don't know what to tell you. What is this? What is this? Is this dollars? Is this US dollars? Is this 25k US dollars?
Entire game. To give some context, the card actually sold for 7...
Wait, no, the C is Canadian, right? Canadian dollars? Okay. Yeah, I don't know how much that is, I'm sorry.
$1,000 back in the day, which with...
Alright, well, okay, this is US dollars, okay, 20,000 US dollars.
Inflation is equivalent to a lot of money, especially when you factor in that the majority of the player base was like 7 or 8 year olds at the time, so like...
Look at the cute cat. Look at the cat. With the eyes and everything, that's so funny. Yeah, it used to be a prize card only, it was super expensive. Yeah, I can totally see that.
No one had money, and $7,000 is obviously a lot of money. Now, Cyberstein was originally quite rare, being the first ever Shonen Jump prize card that was only awarded to the winners of the largest tournaments at the time. We're talking about tournaments with hundreds or thousands of people, and you can literally only lose once in the entire tournament if you wanted to make top 8 and win the entire thing. So it's a little ironic that Cyberstein won the very tournament that once gave himself out as a prize card for first place. But by the time that this deck won the Shonen Jump Championship, it was already a couple of years later when the prize card had changed because they rotated the prize cards every year, and Cyberstein had long been reprinted and was available to the general public. Previously, there wasn't really any Cyberstein decks because getting a copy of the card was nearly impossible. There also just weren't that many good fusion monsters to summon out, but literally a month after Cyberstein was reprinted, they came out with a set called Cybernetic Revolution.
Ah, that's when Yu-Gi-Oh was ruined, right? that's when Yu-Gi-Oh was ruined forever. Yeah, they made the guy. Was this before the Cyber Dragon came out? I think I heard something about it, that they released Cyber End Dragon before Cyber Dragon. or something. Is that it? Is that what we're talking about here? I don't remember.
Which included some crazy powerful fusion monsters that actually made Cyberstein worth taking a look at. This was in the form of Cyber Dragon, a whopping 4,000 attack fusion monster who dealt piercing damage, as well as the dreaded Cyber Twin Dragon, a monster with 2,800 attack who could attack twice for a whopping 5,600 attack. Players quickly came to the realization that you could combine these fusion monsters alongside Cyberstein with cards like Megamorph, which was an equipped.
If your life points are lower than your opponent's, the original attack of the equipped monster with this card is double. Oh, that's what you were saying in chat. If your life points are higher, the original attack is half. Oh, wait. That's huge. That's a lot of damage.
Spell that doubled your monster's attack as long as your life points were lower than your opponent's. This was made pretty easy, especially after you paid the 5,000 life point cost for Cyberstein in the first place. And of course, all of these decks played limited removal, a quick play version of Megamorph that doubled the attack of all machine monsters you controlled, but destroyed them in the end phase. It was already limited on the ban list. Does anyone have a—
Imagine a 16,000 damage monster with piercing damage. That's crazy, right?
Phantom of Yubel for trade for my Yubel deck? Phantom of Yubel? Bro, you don't need no Phantom of Yubel. No. What you need to be trading for is a brand new shirt. Bro, if you're gonna show up to a tournament, your drip is a big deal. You can't show up looking like this.
All right. I know this is an ad, and this is an important question, chat. How do you dress when you go to a tournament? Because I've never gone to an IRL tournament, right? So I don't know. Do you like think about it, or do you just go like as you regularly dress, or do you need to pick your fanciest drip, right? Do you go to something that will maybe, I don't know, intimidate your opponent, or do you use something that to kind of throw off your opponent so they don't suspect what you're playing, right? They see your shirt and it's, oh, this guy is probably into some malice. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I was on pajamas the last tournament. Yeah, button shirt with, I don't know how to pronounce that. Cookies? Wait, Pepper, have you seen GX Season 4? What? We're watching a video. What the hell? I go new to assert dominance. Yeah, I think so, right? Interesting. All right, let's keep watching.
I guess if it's that bad, I could go buy one. All right, tell you what. Let me take a look at your binder. I actually have a couple of shirts in my car. And yeah, I can give you a good deal.
For the binder,
okay, cool.
For the cards in the binder,
binder. Yeah, sure. Let's take a look at what you got. Oh, damn. You know what? I guess I could. Yeah, we could do it for a maxi. I mean, oh man, this card's banned. I can't really use it, but man, Benz needs a shirt. So what can you do?
You go with your Dynamorphia and Regina T-shirt, and then nobody will suspect anything, right? That's so funny.
Yeah, let's do it for the 3 maxis. This actually looks really cool. Thanks, man. I've been trying to get rid of those maxis for a while. I'm glad I got a good deal for them. If you guys want some awesome graphic style shirts for summer, definitely check out intotheam.com. They're having a site-wide sale right now for 30% off, and if you use the code SQUIDDIES or click on my link below in the description, you'll get an additional 10% off. This meant that is
me wearing my Lunalight Liger Dancer shirt only to play branded Recotail. No, that sounds amazing. See, that sounds amazing. Yeah. You go with your Kaiba suitcase, briefcase, your Kaiba briefcase, and then you're playing Tenpai. Yeah.
As long as your opponent had a blank board, you could normal summon Cyberstein, pay 5,000 life points, summon out either Cyber Twin Dragon or Cyber End Dragon, and attach a whopping huge Megamorph to it to double its attack, dealing over 8,000 points of damage in one single turn, which was very, very rare and hard to do back in the day when Yu-Gi-Oh was nothing but normal summon monsters and beat down. And if for some reason you were not able to end the duel on the spot with your fusion monster, there were other support cards that helped your cause. For example, Ring of Destruction was a card that was a staple in basically every deck. With the Odorata, of course, it allowed you to target any monster on the field, blow it up and deal that much damage to both players' life points. Then there was also Poison of the Old Man, a quick play spell card that either burned your opponent for 800 damage, much like Ukazi, or even replenished your own life points by 1200, meaning if you had multiple copies of this, you could theoretically activate a second copy of Cyberstein again. Now you might be curious, back in the day there were not
Would people do that? Like, those cards are not searchable, but I guess the game was way slower at the time. full on Kaiba cosplay and then pull out Yami. So true, so true.
any hard set combos or archetypes, so how the heck would you get Cyberstein to your hand beyond hard drawing it? Well, there are actually a couple of ways you could creatively search this card directly from your deck and add it to your hand when you want it. Sangan was an extremely busted monster from back in the day that allowed you to search your deck for any monster with 1500 or less attack, aka Cyberstein, by sending it from the field to the graveyard. And of course, you could use your trap cards like Torrential Tribute or Ring of Destruction to pop your own Sangan and then add Cyberstein from your deck to your hand. Mystic Tomato also allowed you to dig for Sangan or Cyberstein when it was destroyed by battle. And Last Will was surprisingly unbanned at the time. This was an extremely busted spell card that literally lets you special summon a monster with 1500 or less attack directly from your deck if a monster was already sent to the graveyard during this turn. But they quickly banned this card because it's just way too broken to search your deck for any monster and special summon it to the field. Back to the story, David Rodriguez did this exact thing with his Cyberstein deck in order to maximize dealing as much damage.
How old is this person?
Possible in the shortest amount of time. And his deck also played Giant Trunade to wipe his opponent's back row, so Cyberstein was protected. Cards like Level Limit Area B and Gravity Bind could also stall out the game before assembling enough pieces to go for the combo. And one of the most quirky beast creatures of the era was none other than Nimble Momonga, a monster who allowed you to gain 1000 life points when it was destroyed, and special summon out 2 more subsequent Nimble Momongas to do the exact same thing for you, giving you a net gain of 3000 life points. Now, one thing to note is that Chain
This sounds like what a lame way to play the game, but you have to do what you have to do. What can I say?
Burn was a popular deck around that time, and unfortunately, if you're playing a deck that pays a chunk of your life points, you're basically doing most of the work for your opponent. Now, with this in mind, he actually took a transformative smokescreen side deck that changed the entire concept of the deck for Game 2 and Game 3, especially against Chain Burn. His side deck was actually composed of burn cards specifically, swapping out the Cyberstein engine for Chain Burn, so he could literally play Chain Burn post side and try to beat his opponent at their own game. Having cards like Poison of the Old Man alongside Magic Cylinder already in the main deck contributed to the strategy as well. Now, it's important to note that back in the day, SJC tournaments only took top 8 cut instead of top 32 or top 64 that we have today in our YCS or WCQ tournaments. In top 8 with his Cyberstein deck, David Rodriguez faced off against Jeffrey Fizicaro, who was playing Chain Burn, which was basically a nightmare matchup for Cyberstein and probably lost like 9 times out of 10. But
to burn them before they can summon stuff? That's so funny. Like, do you really need to do that? Or am I missing something? I think I might be missing something because there is no way it's only that, right?
Somehow he got really lucky and was able to clinch out Game 1 before losing Game 2 and barely squeaking out a win in Game 3 by using his transformative side deck to Chain Burn the Chain Burn player. From there, in his top 4 match, he faced off against Gerard Ramirez, who he actually had a draw with thanks to Ring of Destruction. Yeah, back in the day, there were a lot of draws because Ring of Destruction actually can burn both players' life points to 0 at the same time with the old errata, so it was not super uncommon to see up to 4 or even 5 games played through a match that's typically a best of 3. Now, the finals is where things get interesting, and literally this match did not last for even 10 minutes. Here, David faced off against his teammate, Mario Matu, who was playing a Chaos Monarch deck that made usage of cards like Zaborg the Thunder Monarch or Mobius the Frost Monarch, together with cards like Dekoichi the Battle Chanted Locomotive, who...
What is this card? This card looks so funny. It's like Thomas. Draw 1 card, then draw 1 additional card for each face-up Bokoichi... Wait, the Frightening card? Oh, so that's a different one. Huh. Evil Thomas.
allowed you to draw a bunch of cards before using it as a free tribute summon for a monarch. He was also playing one lone copy of Cyberstein in the main deck because this was easily searchable off of Sangan, so you did have the opportunity to go for a game, you know, whenever it came up. But unfortunately, as fate would have it,
normal
his deck
monster.
did not draw very well. And in turn 1, despite winning the die roll, Mario had nothing but to set a spell or trap card and pass, followed by David summoning a Sangan and setting a Ring of Destruction to his back row. On the following turn, Mario set another spell or trap card to his back row, and in the end phase, Ring of Destruction was flipped to pop Sangan, allowing David to search for Cyberstein. The gears were now in motion, and they accelerated next turn because David activated Giant Trunade to get rid of the 2 back row that were in his path, before normal summoning Cyberstein, paying 5,000 life points, summoning out the Cyber End Dragon, and attacking for game after activating Limiter Removal to double his attack to a...
This Limiter Removal is so funny, dude. I love this. This card is... This old art, I need it in my life. It's so good.
1,000 damage. Game 2 didn't go any better for Mario because he opened with a T set and passed. David looked at his hand and then back at Mario, and with a grin on his face, he said, "Sorry, Mario," before activating Giant Trunade, normal summoning Cyberstein, bringing out Cyber End Dragon, and equipping it with both Megamorph to double its attack, as well as a copy of United We Stand to give it a further 1,600 attack boost. And because Cyber End Dragon does piercing damage, all he had to do was swing for game over whatever the heck Mario had set to deal well over 8,000 damage. Literally winning the Shonen Jump Championship in a mere 3 turns, and the elusive Shrink prize card that was...
Okay. To be fair, like 3 turns sounds like, oh, that's just 3 turns. But right now, it's 1 turn. It's 1 turn, and sometimes it's not even the turn of the person who wins.
Given out to the champion at the time. Now, one thing to note is that this was not the first time Cyberstein OTK was seen in a tournament. In fact, 4 months prior to this, Corey Fabish actually won SJC Hamilton with a Cyberstein OTK deck as well. And since then, there had been some Cyberstein OTKs sneaking into Top Cut, but nobody really respected it, especially with the prevalence of Chain Burn being such a bad matchup for the deck. But after Yu-Gi-Oh! R&D at Upper Deck saw that the match ended in less than 10 minutes, they took drastic action and emergency banned Cyberstein within the next week. And fun fact,
I don't understand, like, the people didn't know, like, it just... Well, I'm missing the timeline, see, what is this deck? Like the Cybernetic Revolution just started and then 5 days later this happened, or what? I don't get it. Because these cards didn't like come out, right? The only thing that made a difference was Cyber End Dragon? Is that it? And then they decided to ban it because people started using it? No.
Because this was the year 2006, not everyone had a smartphone. In fact, basically no one had a smartphone. So not everyone knew that Cyberstein was actually banned, and some players even showed up to their locals a couple of days before Christmas with a Cyberstein deck before being notified that, hey, you can't use Cyberstein anymore, it's been banned. But this wasn't...
Okay, I never considered that. That is so interesting. That is so interesting. I assume that people who frequent card game stores will know, right? Because everyone will be talking about it, I think.
The last time we'd see our fine Frankenstein friend, because 13 years later, on January 2019, they actually unbanned Cyberstein and brought it back to 1 on the ban list. And players quickly realized that there was a lot to be done with Cyberstein after nearly 15 years of the card's conception, and the fact that there were a lot more powerful fusion monsters in the game's card base. Fun, degenerate FTKs that involved Cyberstein and Telekinetic Power Cell, an equipped spell that equipped only to a psychic monster that prevented you from paying life points to fulfill a cost of a monster effect.
Oh,
so by
I
using
remember
cards
this.
like DNA Surgery or Reproducus, you could change the type of Cyberstein to become Psychic before searching for Telekinetic Power Cell, equipping it to Cyberstein, and special summoning out an infinite number of fusion monsters.
Yeah, I remember this. This is so funny.
And bypassing the cost to pay 5,000 life points, so you could spam your entire extra deck of fusion monsters onto the table. But these type of FTK combos were rather gimmicky and required a lot of setup and a lot of bricks to play, so they...
Yeah, it's like you have to be very lucky in order to make that work.
weren't really competitively viable. What really made Cyberstein a valuable card was the fact that fusion monsters like Naturia Exterio existed in the game. Naturia Exterio allows you to banish the card from your graveyard and send the top card of your deck to the graveyard to negate any spell or trap card activation, and this was not once per turn. So special summoning out Exterio with Cyberstein was pretty high impact. And although it wasn't a super consistent card that was included into every deck, it was still annoying enough where they determined, hey, we probably can't leave this card running around rampant, because when a deck is able to play this card, it always ends up in a degenerate combo FTK or a crazy end board. There were also other fusion monsters like Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, Millenniumized Restrict, which protected you from hand traps that discarded themselves to the graveyard, or even cards like the Last Warrior from Another Planet that prevented your opponent from summoning monsters.
I'm starting to think about how this will also impact the... What's the new card? No, it's not new. Metamorphosis? No, it's a similar card, but it's not for free because at least you have to have a monster with the same level, right, of what you want to summon. So I think it's more fair.
So yeah, you basically beat down your opponent just with one single card summoned off of Cyberstein. Not to mention the fact that this card was randomly level 2, so it comboed well with cards like Sprite Elf, which was a generic link monster that allowed you to resurrect Cyberstein back from your graveyard. And in decks like Tearlaments, you could easily search for Cyberstein by milling a huge chunk of your deck before linking off into Sprite Elf and bringing back the Cyberstein with Elf's effect, paying 5,000 life points, and special summoning out Naturia Exterio to strengthen your end board even further. So yeah, that's basically the story of how Cyberstein was one of the most busted cards ever conceived and ended the finals of the Shonen Jump Championship in literally less than 10 minutes. What do you guys think? Is this iconic card something that could maybe come back off of the ban list just so you can have some fun with it? Also, what do you guys think about this style of video? Let me know in the comments below. Drop a like if you haven't already. Video. Other than that, I'll see you guys next video. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Bye-bye.
A lot of things to talk about, definitely, with this
general public.
With this card. Such a funny card. Yeah. Cyberstein is pretty good card. I don't know if it's played nowadays. I think I saw it. I don't remember if this is banned right now in Master Duel, but I saw a replay of precisely what he mentioned, right? That you turn it into a psychic monster and then you summon a lot of stuff with it because you don't have to pay LP, and you can turn that into an FTK somehow. Yeah, I remember this. Very funny card.